So now I'm curious. You said GPS. I was assuming that GPS would not have this information. It was coming from Wi-Fi routers because in my simple mind, I imagine this GPS is information that's sort of coming top down because I know there's GPS satellites, right? So they would just have 2D information. Obviously, my understanding is completely flawed. Can you explain how GPS works?
Right. So imagine you have, we have satellites that are orbiting the Earth, and we don't just have GPS. We also have GLONASS and Galileo. So we have other satellite constellations that are providing navigation signals, and GPS being the most well-known of these. So imagine that you had lighthouses in the sky, and you knew exactly where they were, and we do exactly know where these GPS satellites are. And imagine that you also know exactly how far away from these points of light you were. Then you could attach a string from each of these points with the exact length that you know it is away from you, and where those strings join, that is where your location is. And this location is going to be a point in space, in 2D and in 3D. Okay. So it is essentially a 3D position. Unfortunately, the accuracy of GPS in elevation is a little bit worse than the typical lat-long accuracy. That's just because of the geometry, the way the geometry is set up. So GPS is not going to get you down to floor-level accuracy.
Right.
It'll be always worse than that.
You also encounter the attenuation problem you were talking about before.
That's
where
right.
Typically, if you're trying to compute the floor they are on or the altitude they have, well, they are by definition in a building.
Right.
And therefore, you can't really trust the
GPS is not going to do that for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're leaning more heavily on the Wi-Fi stuff you were talking about earlier.
But we use the same reference system in terms of surfacing that altitude.
Okay. So what is that? That's just a standard of...
Just a standard,
So like latitude, longitude only defines the 2D information
right.
on the Earth's surface.
Yes.
Whereas this is another... What is it?
It's just your elevation above an agreed upon reference system that is known throughout the planet. We've modeled this. We know what the Earth isn't the Earth is not a sphere. It's a potato, and it has deviations. There are people who spend their entire careers defining and refining the way that we reference points on this planet. But there's an agreed upon reference frame that the GPS community has adopted, and we use the same one.
You heard it here first. The Earth is not round. Apparently.
Yep, it's not round. It's a little bit shaped like a potato. Look it up.
Okay.
It makes the notion. Makes the notion of a very simple geometry. It just doesn't match the reality. We can't say that all points on the surface of the Earth are equally far away from the center of the Earth. That just isn't the case, because we have mountains, we have valleys, and the Earth itself is not a even approximately a totally round shape.
It's like a egg with acne, really, really bad acne.